Once upon a time, there was a guy named Jack who had a strange and twisted sense of humor. He enjoyed playing pranks and causing mischief, and often went out of his way to cause trouble and chaos. One of Jack's favorite pranks was to hide crutches from crippled people. He would wait until they were not looking, and then stealthily snatch their crutches and hide them in obscure and difficult-to-reach places. He found it hilarious and entertaining to watch the cripples struggle and stumble without their crutches, and would often repeat the prank on the same people multiple times. The cripples were understandably upset and angry with Jack for his cruel and insensitive behavior. They would confront him and demand that he return their crutches, but Jack would simply laugh and deny any involvement. He was indifferent to their suffering and distress, and enjoyed causing trouble and chaos. One day, Jack hid the crutches of a guy named Tim, who was known for his good-natured and easygoing personality. Tim was shocked and frustrated when he realized that his crutches were missing, and struggled to get around without them. But as he stumbled and fell, Tim suddenly realized that the situation was actually quite humorous. He began to laugh and joke about it, and even got up and stumbled around on his own, pretending to be a clumsy and bumbling cripple. However, the joke quickly turned sour when Tim stumbled into a busy street and was hit by a car. He was rushed to the hospital with serious injuries, and was unable to walk or use his legs for several months. Jack was delighted when he heard about the accident, and thought it was the funniest thing he had ever heard. He rushed to the hospital to visit Tim, and offered to help him get up from his bed. However, halfway through the process, Jack dropped Tim on the back of his head, causing him to go into a coma. Tim was in a coma for 20 years, and when he finally woke up, he found that his whole family had died. He was alone and devastated, and had no one to turn to for support or comfort. As he lay in his hospital bed, feeling lost and helpless, Tim saw Jack standing at the end of his bed, laughing at him. Jack was still the same cruel and heartless prankster, and had not changed at all in the 20 years that Tim had been in a coma. But Tim soon realized that the situation was even worse than he thought. He learned that 10 years after the accident, a GoFundMe had been set up to raise money for a new surgery that could fix his legs. However, Jack had somehow managed to get access to the fund and had stolen all the money, using it to buy a Lamborghini and live a happy life with his wife and kids. To add insult to injury, Jack had also convinced the doctors that Tim didn't need his legs, and had therefore not received the surgery that could have restored his mobility. Tim was left a broken and helpless cripple, unable to walk or do anything for himself. At first, Tim was filled with rage and hatred for Jack, and vowed to seek revenge for the harm and suffering he had caused. But as time went on, Tim began to see the humor in the situation. He realized that, despite being evil and cruel, Jack had somehow managed to live a happy and fulfilling life with a wife and kids, while Tim was left alone and unable to do anything.